For 21 straight WrestleManias, nobody could beat The Undertaker. Then in one unforgettable night, the impossible happened. But the real story isn't how the streak ended. It's how a routine victory became wrestling's greatest legend. On Aves, the arena didn't explode with cheers. It fell silent. For a few seconds, thousands of people simply stared at the giant screen. The number changed from 21-0 to 21-1. Nobody could believe it. Some fans covered their mouths. Others stood frozen. Even the commentators struggled to find words. That moment became one of the most shocking scenes in WWE history. But here's the question. How did a winning streak become more important than championship titles? How did one annual match turn into the biggest attraction at WrestleMania? To answer that, you have to go back more than 2 decades. Because when the streak began, nobody even noticed it. When Mark Calloway signed with WWE in 1990, nobody expected him to become the company's greatest WrestleMania legend. His first character lasted only a few months. Then everything changed. At Survivor Series 1990, a mysterious figure walked to the ring wearing black. He was introduced as The Undertaker. Managed by Paul Bearer, he barely spoke. He didn't need to. His entrance did the talking. The slow walk. The funeral music. The cold stare. Everything about him felt different. Unlike most wrestling characters, The Undertaker didn't chase laughs or popularity. He made people uncomfortable. And that was exactly the point. Fans had never seen anything like him. Many expected the supernatural character to fade within a year. Instead, it became one of the longest-running and most successful gimmicks in professional wrestling. The first obstacle standing in The Undertaker's path was a wrestling legend who had already conquered WrestleMania 7, against Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Jimmy Superfly Snuka wasn't just another opponent. By 1991, he was already one of wrestling's biggest pioneers. His fearless style had inspired an entire generation of wrestlers. For many fans, Snuka was the favorite. The Undertaker was still the unknown newcomer. It lasted just over 4 minutes. The Undertaker dominated from the opening bell. Then came the Tombstone Piledriver. 1, 2, 3. The referee counted the fall. 1-0 WrestleMania 8 against Jake the Snake Roberts. That match meant more than another victory. Jake Roberts was one of WWE's biggest stars. His dark personality and psychological mind games made him the perfect rival. Fans expected a close battle. Instead, The Undertaker survived every trick Roberts used. Then another tombstone ended the match. The record quietly became 2-0. WrestleMania 9 against Giant Gonzalez. Even today, many fans consider it one of the weakest matches in WrestleMania history. The 7'7" giant towered over everyone. But the match ended in a disqualification after Gonzalez used chloroform. According to WWE rules, The Undertaker still won. The record moved to 3-0. WrestleMania 10, The Undertaker could not fight due to serious back injury. For the first time, fans wondered if his mysterious character had finally reached its end. It hadn't, not even close. Months later, he returned to WWE television. The dead man was back. And so was the streak. WrestleMania 11 against King Kong Bundy. Bundy outweighed him by nearly 200 pounds. Ted DiBiase even tried to interfere. It didn't matter. One tombstone later, the streak reached 4-0 WrestleMania 12 against Diesel, later known as Kevin Nash. At over 7 feet tall, Diesel had the size and strength to end the streak. Instead, The Undertaker survived a physical battle. Another tombstone sealed the victory. The record climbed to 5-0 WrestleMania 13 against Psycho Sid for the WWF Championship. For the first time, the streak and a world title shared the same match. After a hard-fought battle, Bret Hart distracted Sid from ringside. The Undertaker took advantage. He delivered the tombstone. 1, 2, 3, and The Undertaker became WWF champion once again. The streak reached 6-0. WrestleMania 14 against Kane. Kane had debuted just months earlier. He arrived with a mask, a towering frame, and a promise of revenge. According to the storyline, Undertaker had started the fire that scarred Kane as a child. Now Kane wanted payback. Their match felt bigger than a title fight. It was family against family, light against darkness. The battle lasted more than 16 minutes. Finally, a third tombstone kept Kane down. The streak reached 7-0 WrestleMania 15 against Big Boss Man inside Hell in a Cell. The match itself was solid. The ending became unforgettable. After the victory, the Brood lowered a noose from the top of the cell. In one of WWE's most controversial scenes, Big Boss Man appeared to be hanged as the show ended. Today, WWE rarely revisits that moment. It remains one of WrestleMania's darkest images. The record now stood at 8-0. WrestleMania 16, The Undertaker did not fight due to groin injury. When he returned later that year, something looked different. The black hat was gone. The long coat disappeared. The supernatural dead man became the American badass. He rode a motorcycle. He listened to rock music. He spoke more often. Some fans loved the change. Others missed the original character. Either way, one question remained. Could this new Undertaker protect the streak? WrestleMania 17 against Triple H. At the time, Triple H was already one of WWE's biggest stars. Many believed he had the best chance yet. The match became a fight. Not WrestleMania 18, against Flair no disqualification match. Ric Flair didn't come alone. His own. 10-0. WrestleMania 19 against A-Train and Big Show handicap match WO Giants. One target. Many expected the numbers game to overwhelm The Undertaker. Instead, he outlasted both men. Nathan Jones briefly appeared after the referee was knocked down. But officially, The Undertaker scored the victory. The record climbed to 11-0. WrestleMania 20 against Kane. This time, something fans had wanted for years finally happened. The dead men returned. The motorcycle disappeared. The long black coat came back. So did the hat. So did Paul Bearer. The supernatural Undertaker had risen again. The crowd erupted before the match even started. 6 years after their first WrestleMania battle, the WrestleMania 21 against Randy Orton. This wasn't just another WrestleMania match. It was a clash between generations. Orton called himself the Legend Killer. For weeks, Orton insisted The Undertaker's time was over. At WrestleMania 21, Orton came painfully close. He reversed the tombstone. He hit the RKO. The referee counted. 1, 2. The Undertaker kicked out. The crowd exploded. Moments later, Undertaker escaped another RKO attempt. He delivered a tombstone. 13-0. WrestleMania 22 against Mark Henry, the world's strongest man promised to crush the legend once and for all. Henry outweighed Undertaker by well over 100 pounds. The match became a battle of power versus resilience. The dead man absorbed everything Henry threw at him. Then came another tombstone. 14-0. WrestleMania 23 against Batista for World Heavyweight Champion. Batista entered as the World Heavyweight Champion. For the first time, the streak and a World Championship shared the spotlight. What followed exceeded every expectation. They traded. Streak reached 15-0. WrestleMania 24 against Edge. The self-proclaimed ultimate opportunist believed he had found the perfect strategy. He attacked before the bell. He targeted Undertaker's injured knee. He bent every rule he could. But one mistake changed everything. Edge attempted another spear. The Undertaker countered. Then he locked in the Hell's Gate submission. Edge tapped out. For the first and only time during the streak, a WrestleMania opponent submitted. The record became 16-0. WrestleMania 25 against Shawn Michaels. Many call him Mr. WrestleMania. His performances on wrestling's biggest stage had already become legendary. At WrestleMania 25, two icons finally collided. From the opening bell, the atmosphere felt different. Every move mattered. Every near fall shocked the crowd. Then something unforgettable happened. The Undertaker attempted his signature dive over the top rope. Cameraman Snuka, who was part of the planned spot, appeared slightly out of position. The Undertaker landed awkwardly outside the ring. For a frightening moment, he barely moved. The referee immediately checked on him. Fans feared the match might be over. Instead, The Undertaker continued. What followed became wrestling history. Suddenly, he caught Michaels in midair. One tombstone. 3 seconds later, the streak reached 17-0. WrestleMania 26 against Shawn Michaels. This time, Michaels made the biggest promise of his career. If he lost, he would retire. The stakes had never been higher. One career, one streak. Only one could survive. For nearly 24 minutes, neither man gave an inch. The dead man delivered a tombstone. Michaels kicked out. The crowd couldn't believe it. Near the WrestleMania 27 against Triple H. The match had no-holds-barred rules. That meant almost anything was legal. Steel chairs, the ring steps, the announce tables. Nothing was off-limits. From the opening minutes, Triple H attacked without mercy. He drove Undertaker through the announce table. Then another. He swung a steel chair again and again. Later, he used his trademark sledgehammer. The punishment never seemed to end. For the first time in WrestleMania history, The Undertaker looked helpless. He couldn't even stand. Yet somehow, he refused to quit. Near the end, Undertaker locked in the Hell's Gate submission. Triple H tapped out. The streak reached 19 Neo WrestleMania 28. H wanted one final match. This time he called it the end of an era. There would be no excuses, no rematch, no second chance. And standing between them stood a special guest referee, Shawn Michaels. 3 legends, 1 ring, 1 final chapter. The match finished. Triple H looked at Michaels. Michaels shook his head. He didn't want it to end this way. Triple H ignored him. He grabbed the sledgehammer anyway. That hesitation cost him. The Undertaker struck, then delivered one final tombstone. 20-0 WrestleMania 29 against CM Punk, fresh off one of the longest WWE Championship reigns of the modern era. Their rivalry turned deeply personal. In the storyline, Punk repeatedly disrespected the memory of Paul Bearer, who had died just weeks before WrestleMania 29. The emotional weight felt enormous. Inside the ring, Punk delivered one of Undertaker's toughest WrestleMania tests. Near falls came one after another. Then The Undertaker caught Punk with a tombstone. 21-0. The streak had never looked stronger. Many fans believed it would never end. Some even thought The Undertaker should retire undefeated at WrestleMania. Then came WrestleMania 30. The opponent was Brock Lesnar, a former UFC heavyweight champion, one of the most dominant athletes WWE had ever signed. Even so, most fans expected the same ending. Another tombstone. Another victory. Another year. Silence. Not boos. Not cheers. Silence. Fans looked at each other in disbelief. Some cried. Others simply stared. Even Paul Heyman looked stunned before celebrating. The giant screen displayed the number nobody thought they'd ever see. 2-on-1, but here's the twist. That wasn't The Undertaker's final WrestleMania match, and his final chapter would be unlike anything fans had ever seen. After WrestleMania 30, something had changed forever. The streak was gone, but The Undertaker wasn't. He returned the following year at WrestleMania 31. His opponent was Bray Wyatt. Wyatt believed the old era had ended. He wanted to become WWE's new face of darkness. For weeks, he claimed The Undertaker no longer had his power. Inside WrestleManias became a story about time. At WrestleMania 32, Shane McMahon challenged Undertaker inside Hell in a Cell. The stipulation was enormous. If Shane won, he would gain control of WWE's flagship show, Raw, according to the storyline. The match featured one of WrestleMania's most unforgettable moments. Shane climbed to the top of the cell, then he leaped more than 20 feet through the air. The Undertaker moved. Shane crashed through the announce table. Moments later, another tombstone, another victory. 1 year later came an emotional chapter. At WrestleMania 33, The Undertaker faced Roman Reigns. This time, the result was different. Reigns defeated The Undertaker after multiple spears. The match received mixed reviews, but its ending became unforgettable. The Undertaker slowly removed his gloves, then his coat, then his famous hat. He placed them in the center of the ring. Without saying a word, he walked into the darkness. Many believed they had witnessed his retirement. It felt like the final goodbye, but legends rarely leave quietly. Gave fans something completely different, and somehow it worked. The Undertaker defeated AJ Styles, then slowly rode away into the night. For many fans, it was the perfect farewell. Unlike WrestleMania 33, this ending felt complete. In November 2020, WWE held a special final farewell ceremony for The Undertaker at Survivor Series, marking 30 years since his WWE debut. Since then, he has made occasional non-wrestling appearances, but he has not competed in another match, so what made the streak so special? It wasn't just the number. Not even close. 21 straight WrestleMania victories is remarkable. But records can be broken. The feeling can't. Every spring, fans ask the same question. Is this finally the year? For more than 2 decades, the answer stayed the same. No. The streak transformed WrestleMania. Championships changed hands. Heroes rose. Villains fell. But one tradition remained. The Undertaker walked in. The Undertaker walked out victorious. Until one night. He didn't. And maybe that's why people still talk about it today. Not because it lasted forever. Because it didn't. Its ending made every victory before it feel even more unforgettable. The streak wasn't just a statistic. It became a story, a yearly tradition, a shared memory for millions of wrestling fans. Very few moments in sports entertainment have carried that kind of emotional weight. This was one of them. Defeat. That's where this story began. Not with The Undertaker's first victory, but with the one loss that made everyone look back and realize they had witnessed history all along. If you enjoy carefully researched stories about sports, history, and legendary moments, subscribe to Quiet Better. We publish new documentaries every week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next story.